So indoors, having a look at my golf swing, analysing it through a fresh set of eyes, or trying to, and doing it with all the principles that JJ has been asking me to put into my swing, and seeing how this has started to impact all areas of my swing. So we've come inside to have a look at my movement and what's changed for me having done the work with JJ over the year. Now, I've got some 6-iron data here off the TrackMan. This is correlated to what we've got for the force plate in the floor, which is exactly the same as the one that JJ has been using. And then having a look lastly at the video data to show how the swing is looking differently, and I'll then translate all of this back into feels to you guys. So first off is distances, got back up to where it was about 18 months ago for me. So sort of between, you know, one not absolutely ripped, about 176 with a 6-iron, to hit really, really well to about 184, which is exactly what we've been seeing on the TrackMan there. That one there is 177. If we have a very quick look at the previous swing, which is here, and that's 182. So it's sort of pretty solid for me, that. Now, having a look at the force plate, this is where it was quite interesting. What we saw was that JJ was saying to me that it's not good for me to ever get my weight more than 70% over the right foot. So at that top bit there, we see the orange bar. You can see it only got to 69%. So that's saying I'm a lot more centered. So that means I'm staying much more stable with my body in this direction, the backswing. So quite solid through the legs. And then that's meaning that the upper body isn't and sliding across, and I'm staying through the middle of the foot. Having a look at it through where the trace is up and down the feet, I'm actually staying straight down that Hendrix bar movement going into the heel rather than it moving across, which is really good for me. What we then would see is, we'll see how that's got the white peak in the graph. That's showing me that my maximum force has definitely gone up. So I'm now 1.56 times my body weight. This was today. I have had it up at like 1.7 and 1.8. I do believe that that sometimes is just down to sort of how your body is feeling. So at the minute, just a little bit more tired, slightly sleep deprived from kids having a new baby. So it's a little bit more difficult sometimes, but I have seen it up really, really high. So that's showing that the power is coming through that I am seeing on the golf course. Now, let's go through to the video here. Here's where it's really interesting. This was when I first got my Titleist irons at the start of the year, and this was end of April. So good sort of 3.5 months apart. Now, the one when I went to Titleist wasn't what I was working on when I first went to see JJ, because I was actually trying to lengthen my backswing because I didn't like the position that this was in. And if we have a look at this, we will see how my rib cage massively was losing height on that left hand side. So we'll see now how the head's going down, the pelvis is nowhere near gone as back and through the line as it was at the start, so it's not going back this way as much, and the arm is a lot lower down relative to my shoulders. Have a look at the new one on the right hand side, and we can see that the pelvis is so much more through the line, so it's way further back this way, and then the byproduct of this coiling and loading with the lower body is the left arm's a lot higher up on my shoulders. I've not actually been managing to make a lot of these ones on the golf course yet. I'm getting much closer, but that's just all time in terms of making the swing changes and having as much time to practice as I'd ideally like. But this is showing me where it will end up getting to. It might be another 6 months before I've actually truly got this exactly where I want it to be, playing in, you know, a game of golf that actually means something. This one here, though, was so much lower down and there was no hip turn there. This one's got so much more, the weight's gone into the heel and it's way more loaded. It's a completely different looking move at the top. Now, what we'll see is the byproduct of this movement from JJ compared to the other one. The other one, a little bit more trapped coming down. The new one, what we're going to see is a lot more space coming in here. So you can see there's more daylight with the arms from the chest versus where they're a little bit tighter in here. This was me just being a little bit trapped. So what I'd do is I'd push back out a bit, straighten up my legs a little bit. So we'll see how the legs sort of almost straighten up and I push out a bit to create the room for the arms to fire through. Quite flat-footed on that right foot through impact. Having a look now, that right foot's starting to engage and push off and rotating through a lot more, whereas this one had more hands The finish doesn't look too dissimilar. This one just arrived there in such a better fashion. I was able to unwind properly all the way through. Now what we'll see is that when we have a look at this from the front view, so let's bring one in here, we will see that at this point now you can see here with the legs, the focus for me was feeling like that left knee hadn't moved at all. And we'll see now at the top how the legs have maintained the distance between the thighs, it's creating the coil through the feet. So that's getting the weight into this heel and staying really stable on that front of that left foot. What then was happening is I could then get the lower left half to start down first and get more over that left side. This was not long after I'd come back from seeing JJ, and between then and now, something that I've massively noticed on the golf course is my ability to be able to actually separate and create power with it. So for me, this is worked out great in terms of the changes. I've seen the difference in power I'm getting on the golf course. It's looking good from in here. Now what I'm going to start to do is having a look at the biomechanics side of it. I'm going to start to use more of the gym exercising and create more power out the floor, which should then start to generate some more clubhead speed. More power, hopefully, give me a bit more distance. That's going to be the search. The next phase is going to be to have a look at how I can start to explore that over the winter months.